Every morning is a new beginning. Before the world demands your attention, before the noise of responsibilities fills your mind, before fear, worry, or uncertainty have a chance to influence your thoughts, there is one decision that can shape the entire course of your day. That decision is to begin with prayer. The way you start your morning often determines the direction of everything that follows. When you wake up carrying yesterday's disappointments, today's challenges can seem even heavier. But when you wake up and intentionally place your heart, your mind, and your future into God's hands, something remarkable begins to happen. Your circumstances may not change immediately, but your perspective does. Your heart becomes steadier. Your faith becomes stronger. Your confidence grows because you know you are not walking through the day alone. Too many people begin their mornings by checking their phones. Within minutes, they are overwhelmed by news, messages, problems, and distractions. Before they have spoken one word to God, they have already allowed the world to speak into their hearts. Imagine how different your life could become if your first conversation each morning was with your Creator. Prayer is more than asking God for things. Prayer is an invitation for His presence to lead every step you take. It is acknowledging that His wisdom is greater than your understanding, and His power is greater than any obstacle you may face. When you begin your day in prayer, you are declaring that you refuse to face life relying only on your own strength. When you open your eyes each morning, you are stepping into a brand new day filled with opportunities, responsibilities, unexpected moments, and challenges that only God already knows about. Before you begin planning your schedule, checking notifications, or thinking about everything you need to accomplish, make the decision to seek God's protection first. This simple habit has the power to change not only your perspective, but also the way you walk through every situation you encounter. Seeking God's protection is not a sign of weakness. It is a declaration that you understand your strength has limits, but God's power has none. Every day brings situations beyond your control, conversations you cannot predict, decisions that require wisdom, and circumstances that can either strengthen or discourage your faith. When you begin your morning by inviting God to cover every area of your life, you are placing yourself under His loving care and acknowledging that He is the one who guides your path. God's protection extends far beyond keeping you physically safe. His protection surrounds your mind, your emotions, your relationships, your purpose, and your spiritual life. There are countless battles taking place that cannot be seen with human eyes. Fear attempts to enter your thoughts. Doubt tries to weaken your confidence. Temptation quietly searches for moments when you are distracted. Discouragement waits for disappointing news to convince you that God has forgotten you. But when you begin the day in prayer, you are inviting the presence of God to guard your heart against everything that seeks to steal your peace. His presence becomes a shield around your thoughts, reminding you that His promises are greater than your fears, and His truth is stronger than every lie. Many people rush into the day carrying stress before they have even left their homes. They immediately focus on deadlines, financial concerns, family responsibilities, or problems they have been trying to solve for weeks. Their minds become crowded with anxiety because they attempt to carry burdens that were never meant to rest on their shoulders alone. God never intended for you to face life depending only on your own understanding. He invites you to bring every concern before Him, trusting that His wisdom is perfect, even when your circumstances seem confusing. When you seek His protection first, you are choosing faith instead of fear and surrender instead of striving. You are recognizing that God is already working ahead of you, preparing the way before you even arrive. Think about the countless moments throughout your life when God protected you without your knowledge. There were accidents that never happened, harmful decisions you were prevented from making, relationships that ended because they would have damaged your future, and opportunities that seemed delayed, but were actually being prepared according to His perfect timing. Many of God's greatest acts of protection happen quietly. We often recognize them only when we look back and see how faithfully He carried us through situations we never could have handled alone. His protection is not always dramatic, but it is always constant. Even when you cannot see His hand, you can trust that He is faithfully watching over every detail of your life. Seeking God's protection also means asking Him to guide your words before you speak. A careless sentence can damage a relationship, but wisdom from God can bring healing, encouragement, and peace. Before important conversations, ask Him to help you respond with kindness rather than frustration, patience rather than anger, and understanding rather than judgment. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to reflect His love when your heart has first been surrendered to Him in prayer. His protection keeps your emotions from controlling your actions and reminds you to respond with grace even when others do not. Praying for protection includes your family as well. Ask God to watch over your spouse, your children, your parents, your friends, and everyone you love. Pray that He surrounds them with His presence wherever they go. Ask Him to protect their health, strengthen their faith, guide their decisions, and keep them from harm. Even when they are far away, your prayers place them into the hands of the One who is present everywhere at once. There is great comfort in knowing that while you cannot be with your loved ones every moment of the day, God never leaves their side. Asking for God's protection also prepares your heart for unexpected difficulties. Challenges may still come, but you will not face them with panic because you have already invited God into your day. Instead of reacting with fear, you will remember that the Lord is walking beside you. Instead of becoming overwhelmed by uncertainty, you will find peace in knowing that nothing catches God by surprise. Every obstacle becomes an opportunity to trust Him more deeply. Every delay becomes a reminder that His timing is wiser than your own. Every disappointment becomes another chance to believe that He is working all things together for your good. The habit of seeking God's protection every morning gradually transforms the way you live. You become less anxious because you know who is in control. You become more courageous because you trust the One who goes before you. Your confidence is no longer based on favorable circumstances, but on the unchanging character of God. Whether the day brings celebration or difficulty, success or disappointment, clarity or uncertainty, you can move forward with confidence because you have already placed your life into His faithful hands. His protection becomes the foundation of your peace, allowing you to walk through every moment with quiet assurance that wherever you go, His presence goes with you. Every lasting transformation begins with a single decision repeated faithfully over time. Many people hope for a better life, stronger faith, greater peace, and clearer purpose. Yet they overlook one of the most powerful habits that can bring those changes to pass: daily prayer. Real life change is rarely the result of one extraordinary moment. More often, it is the result of consistently seeking God day after day, allowing His presence to shape your heart, renew your mind, and guide your steps. When prayer becomes the foundation of your morning, you are giving God the first place in your life, and that simple act of surrender begins to influence everything that follows. Every conversation, every decision, every challenge, and every opportunity is viewed through the lens of faith rather than fear. Daily prayer is not about impressing God with long or perfect words. It is about building a relationship with the One who knows you completely and loves you unconditionally. God is not waiting for eloquent speeches. He desires an honest heart that comes before Him with humility, gratitude, and trust. Whether your prayer lasts 5 minutes or an hour, what matters most is your willingness to invite Him into your life each day. Consistency in prayer creates spiritual strength in the same way that daily exercise strengthens the body. One workout may not produce dramatic results overnight, but faithful discipline over time transforms your health. In the same way, every prayer offered in faith strengthens your spirit, deepens your trust, and prepares you to face life with confidence. There are mornings when prayer feels easy because everything seems to be going well. There are also mornings when prayer requires determination because your heart feels heavy with disappointment, anxiety, or unanswered questions. Those difficult mornings often become the moments when prayer is most powerful. Choosing to seek God even when you do not feel like praying demonstrates that your faith is built on His faithfulness rather than your emotions. Feelings change from day to day, but God's character never changes. He remains loving when you feel discouraged, faithful when you feel uncertain, and present even when you cannot sense His nearness. Every time you pray despite your circumstances, you are strengthening your trust in the One who remains constant through every season of life. Daily prayer changes the way you think. The world constantly feeds your mind with fear, comparison, negativity, and doubt. News headlines, social media, criticism, and unexpected problems can quickly fill your heart with worry if you allow them to become your primary focus. Prayer redirects your attention toward God's promises instead of the world's distractions. As you spend time in His presence, your perspective begins to shift. Problems that once seemed impossible become opportunities to witness His power. Delays become lessons in patience. Closed doors become reminders that God is protecting you from paths that were never meant for you. Prayer renews your thinking until your confidence is no longer based on circumstances, but on the unchanging nature of God. One of the greatest changes daily prayer produces is peace. The pressures of life do not disappear simply because you pray, but your response to those pressures begins to change. Instead of carrying every burden by yourself, you learn to place them into God's hands. Instead of allowing fear to control your thoughts, you choose to remember His promises. This peace does not depend on perfect circumstances. It comes from knowing that God is with you in every situation. Even when answers do not come immediately, prayer reminds you that God is still working behind the scenes. His silence is never the same as His absence. He continues to guide, protect, and prepare blessings that often become visible only in His perfect timing. Daily prayer also transforms your character. As you spend more time with God, His love begins to shape the way you treat others. You become more patient because He has been patient with you. You become more forgiving because you remember how much you have been forgiven. You become more compassionate because His grace has softened your heart. True spiritual growth is not measured only by how often you pray, but by how deeply your life begins to reflect the character of Christ. The words you speak become more encouraging, your reactions become calmer, your decisions become wiser because they are influenced by God's truth rather than your impulses. Prayer also strengthens your ability to endure difficult seasons. Every person experiences disappointment, loss, uncertainty, and moments when life does not unfold according to plan. During those seasons, daily prayer becomes an anchor for your soul. It reminds you that your hope is not found in temporary circumstances, but in an eternal God who never fails. Even when you cannot understand what He is doing, you can trust that He is working for your good. Every prayer offered during hardship builds resilience, teaching you to rely on God's strength instead of your own. What once seemed unbearable becomes manageable because you are no longer carrying the weight alone. As this habit continues day after day, you begin to notice subtle but powerful changes in your life. Fear loses its grip because faith grows stronger. Worry gives way to confidence because you have learned to trust God's promises. Discouragement is replaced by hope because you remember His faithfulness. Your priorities begin to align with His purpose, and your heart becomes more sensitive to His guidance. Decisions that once felt confusing become clearer because you have developed the habit of listening for His direction. Daily prayer is not merely a religious routine. It is a living relationship that continually shapes your thoughts, strengthens your spirit, renews your purpose, and transforms your life one faithful morning at a time. So before you answer another message, before you rush into another responsibility, before you allow the world's voices to shape your thinking, pause and pray. Place your day into God's hands. Trust His guidance, rest in His protection, believe in His promises. Because when you always start your day with powerful morning prayers, you are not simply beginning another day, you are inviting God to transform your life, one faithful morning at a time.